Welcome to our live broadcast of the second day of the Shimano Canadian Cyclocross Championships. This is the Manitoba International Grand Prix. This is Canada's best riders going up against some of the best riders from the US and Great Britain. We have an incredible venue here for a cyclocross race. We are in Winnipeg, Canada, at the Forks, the junction of the Red and Assiniboine Rivers. This is where Winnipeg hangs out, and this is where Winnipeg and many other fans have come to watch some great cyclocross racing. The weather is 12 degrees Celsius right now. We've got some wind, a little bit of wind. Our meteorologist here in the International Broadcast Center has indicated a small chance of rain. That would definitely change the course conditions here from what we had yesterday, but right now it's just a small chance of rain. I'm your host, Steve Scholes. I'm joined here in the Broadcast Center by Winnipeg's own Leah Kirchman. Welcome, Leah.
Thanks, Steve.
So let's just start off with a quick recap of yesterday's very exciting action here. It was the first day of the Shimano Championships. It was the Canadian Championships day here. Let's just do a quick recap of the women's race, Leah.
Yeah, so we saw a very exciting race here yesterday for the women. We saw the young Magali Rochette lead a very fast first lap, unfortunately getting bogged down in the sandpit, where we saw Catherine Pendrell open a small gap with Michael Dick. Fortunately, Michael suffered a mechanical on the second lap. We saw her having to run to the pit and losing time there. This allowed Pendrell to get away solo. Rochette came back to claim the silver medal, and Sandra Walter held on for an impressive bronze medal.
Yeah, it was a great women's race yesterday. Let's now go to some interviews and also some podium presentations from yesterday here for the women's race. Ladies and gentlemen, your podium. I'm here with Sandra Walter. We're just after the championship party that we had with Sandra here. How'd you find the course today? You got a third place bronze medal. How'd you find the course today?
It was a really great cross course. I think it was world-class type course. It had a bit of everything: grass, cobblestones, pavement, sand, 2 sand pits, this crazy run up, and my favorite part was the mountain bikey part, which was the chute that went down over some roots, and you had to do this awesome corner and a steep climb up. And yeah, it was incredibly challenging. There was some wind. The spectators were awesome. It was a very enjoyable but very hard race.
So this was a nice way to cap off an incredible season. And you had this bronze medal here at the Cyclocross Championships to go with your bronze medal at Nationals. So how'd you feel about your season this year?
I had probably one of my best seasons ever. I'm primarily a mountain bike racer and dabble in cross for some good off-season training. And so I had a bronze medal at the Canadian Mountain Bike Championships, the XCO. And then I actually won gold at the Marathon Cross Country Mountain Bike Championships in Squamish. So 3 championship medals, 1 jersey, all in this season, and it's been spectacular.
Well, congratulations on your third place today. Thanks for coming out here. We really enjoyed having you here.
Thanks so much for putting on such a great event. Yeah, a Winnipeg! Looking forward to next year, too.
Team all the way from Saint-Jérôme, Quebec, Magali Rochette! Okay, I'm here with our silver medalist in the elite women, also our under-23 champion, Magali Rochette. We've also got Auckland here, our under-13 champion. Just a quick word here with Magali. How did you feel out on the course today? How did you feel racing to second place?
I was feeling really good. I made a mistake on the first lap after a pretty good start, and then I wasn't able to bridge back to Catherine. But I'm super happy with how I raced, and it was a great course. What about you, Auckland? Real quick, how was it?
It was pretty good. Like I had a pretty big lead on them on my category for the whole race.
That's cool. Good job.
Yeah, great ride. How do you like the fans out here cheering you on?
It was incredible. There's so many people here. It's just like incredible.
Yeah, how Magali, how did you find the atmosphere here?
It was crazy. Do you agree with me that, Auckland, that people here really are affected by the cyclocross fever? People were going crazy out there. It was really fun.
We have a major epidemic of cyclocross fever here in Winnipeg, and you started it, so great job, Magali, great job, Auckland.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Catherine Pendrell, another Canadian championship. You defended your championship. How does it feel?
It feels great. I mean, it just seems like good things happen when I come to Manitoba, so.
Yeah, Manitoba does it for you. So how do you like the fans here, all the cheering, the venue? How was that?
Oh, it was awesome. It was such a great day. So much good energy out there, really loud, and perfect day for racing. Just kind of people gave you energy running up all the tough climbs and through the sand, and it was great.
Oh, congratulations on your gold medal, another Canadian championship.
Thank you.
We are back live here at the second day of the Shimano Cyclocross Championships, the Manitoba International Grand Prix. We're just showing a few shots here of the Half Pints Garden of Beer. We are broadcasting not only around the world, but we're also broadcasting here in the Half Pints Garden of Beer. Just a great venue to check out this race and watch the entire race on our big screen TV there. We also, for the fans located here, we have a great raffle going on for some Shimano product. You can check that out. We've got some great spectators here. They were going absolutely berserk yesterday for the Canadian Championship. So those are shots of our Half Pints Garden of Beer. They're getting ready for the start of our women's race. That'll be getting underway in about 6 minutes or so. So let's turn our attention now to that women's race. And Leah, we did this yesterday. We did a cyclocross fantasy pool. We were matched fairly well, I think, in the women's race, but in the men's race, you pulled away and you really dominated the final sprint. Really kicking my butt in the cyclocross fantasy pool. Now, last time I gave you first pick. Now I'm going to take first pick.
I think that's fair.
Okay, thanks for giving me a chance at this. So I'm going to go. We'll take two picks each. And for my first pick in that cyclocross fantasy pool, I got to go with yesterday's winner, Catherine Pendrell. Great ride yesterday, very strong ride. She's had a great season, World Mountain Bike Champion, Commonwealth Games Champion. I got to go with Catherine Pendrell as my first pick.
Okay, well, for my first pick, I'm going to go with a British rider. So we actually didn't see her in the Canadian Championships yesterday, but very strong rider. She's one of the top-ranked riders in the world, Gabby Duran.
Good pick, yeah. So that highlights the fact that this is the International Grand Prix. Gabby Duran from Great Britain. We've also got some American riders in here. I know Ellen Noble is in that pack as well. So we've got some great British and American riders in this international field here at Winnipeg, at the Forks here for the Manitoba International Grand Prix. For my second pick, I know you talked about it earlier. I got to go with Michael Dick. Unfortunate race yesterday, second lap, she crashed on that Tetro Design Knoll of Pain. I got to think, she had to get to the pit. She really took her out of that race when she had that mechanical problem. I think she is very, very determined to do well here today on the second day here in Winnipeg. So I'm going to have to go with the BC native Michael Dick as my second pick.
Okay, so for my second pick, I'm going to have to go with Magali Rochette. Very strong young rider. She finished second to Catherine yesterday, her Luna teammate, and I think she's going to have a great race today.
Yeah, that's a good pick. We saw that interview earlier about the cyclocross fever. I think after yesterday, the exciting racing we had there, so many people here in Winnipeg have come down with cyclocross fever, and anyone new joining us today here at the Forks, you better be prepared to handle the effects of cyclocross fever. So we're now just checking out the time. We're now 4 minutes to the start of the women's race, so 4 minutes to the start of our second day here at the Shimano Canadian Cyclocross Championships. If you're just joining us, this is the Manitoba International Grand Prix. This is Canada's best cyclocross riders going up against some of the best that the US and Britain have to offer. And we are now just under 3 minutes to start here of our women's race. We're just seeing a few scenes here from the Forks. This is where Winnipeg comes to hang out. This is actually what you're seeing right now is shots of the skate park here. This is an amazing skate park. This is a Tony Hawk approved skate park here at the Forks. We've also got the Canadian Museum of Human Rights. We've got the harbor area. We've got the Forks Market area. There's so many things to offer here, and somehow, some way, we are putting on a cyclocross race here. We've been doing this since Friday. We had the Kick Cancer cyclocross celebration on Friday. We had the championship day on Saturday, and now it's the International Grand Prix. Just looking now in the background, that is the Canadian Museum of Human Rights. Just opened here in Winnipeg. What a spectacular building, what a spectacular opportunity to highlight what has been done for human rights and what needs to be done still in the future. So I understand now our riders, our top riders, are being called up to the start. So we should be about 2.5 minutes to the start. So we're just showing showing one of the bridges across one of the rivers here. This is the junction of the Red and Assiniboine rivers here. Yeah, just an awesome site here. So we're just going to highlight, just while we're getting the start call up, we're just going to show you a couple of the course features here today. So we're just going to show you, we've got about 70% of the course covered with our cameras. There's a couple sections not covered by the camera, so we're just going to show you a bit of video of those course features just off camera. So one of the tricky sections on the course that we're not going to have on camera, that's Michael Vandenham right now. We got this forest section. They've also got a tricky run up. You can see some riders running it, some riders will have to run it. So one of the features is the Tetra Design Nola Pain. We've got this off-camber turn here. We're right now in the course warm-up. That's Magali Rochette going through it. Nice work. We've seen some riders wipe out here, so this will be one interesting feature of the course, the Tetra Design Nola Pain. So one tricky section just before the start finish is this double dip section. So we got a couple riders going through. That's Aaron Schooler just coming through now. So they've got this double dip section just before the start finish. They also have this little chicane that they have to get through. So that's right before the finishing straight. So we're just now back here live at the second day of the Shimano Canadian Cyclocross Championships. It's the Manitoba International Grand Prix. Our top riders just getting called up right now. You can see Gabby Duran of the Neon Velo team here. Catherine Pendrell is on the start line. Michael Dick, Sandra Walter, Ellen Noble I see there, Natasha Elliott. That is our start line. We're just getting more riders called up. That looks like Anna Shafford, local rider, top 5 yesterday at the National Championship. She is getting called up to the start line. So we're just a few minutes away from the start. We'll see if we can get an update from our spotters as to how much time we have to the start. But this is a great venue here. We're talking a little bit about it already. We've got some tricky areas. We've got a descent down to the river. We've got a very, very difficult run up. So we're just moments away from the start here, just getting our riders called up to the start. Looks like we're on our 3rd row now. We have got a total just under 20 riders in this women's race here in the Manitoba International Grand Prix. So we're being broadcast not only on site here, we're being broadcast around the world. We had quite a few people actually joining us from Europe yesterday. We had people online from Netherlands, Germany, Belgium, Britain. So this is truly international coverage here of the Canadian Cyclocross Championship weekend. I've just got notice that we're under 2 minutes to start. 2 minutes to start for our top women. It looks like Jeremy Duran just in our screen there. He'll be racing in the men's race coming up right after this. So that will be at 4 o'clock Central Time, 11 o'clock in Belgium. So it's now under 1 minute to start here. 1 minute to start for our Manitoba International Grand Prix Women's Elite Race. Again, the weather approximately 12 degrees Celsius. 30 seconds to start. There is a small chance of rain, and that would significantly change the dynamics of this race. The mud here gets extremely difficult to deal with. And we are underway here, the Manitoba International Grand Prix. Magali Rochette trying to get that whole shot, and she has done that. Gabby Duran is in there as well. That's the Neon Velo team. Michael Dick, a great start here. She is right at the front. Ellen Noble is sitting third spot. Michael Dick moving up on the outside. Also Anna Schapper, one of the local riders, got a great start there. She's sitting in about fifth place. So that is the start of our Manitoba International Grand Prix. One feature that we haven't talked about yet, it's the Tetra Design Knoll of Pain. You're seeing that a little bit on the right-hand side of our screen here. There is a very tricky, slick, off-camber corner. We saw some crashes there. That is where Michael Dick crashed yesterday. That is where Aaron Schooler crashed yesterday. So that is a critical part of this course, and they are heading towards that right now. That is the Tetra Design Knoll of Pain that they're about to head up. That is Magali Rochette, Gabby Duran, Ellen Noble, Michael Dick, Catherine Pendrell, Natasha Elliott. And there now, that was the corner. Yeah, and look at that. We have Magali Rochette down. That has been a very tricky corner, but quick recovery. But Gabby Duran, Ellen Noble taking advantage of that. So we have two foreign riders, a British rider and an American rider, now leading this group. So once again, just as I was mentioning that, so it looks like Magali Rochette has fallen back to about fifth or sixth place. And also you'll notice Catherine Pendrell sitting in fourth. She's got a special Luna Pro jersey on. She is the women's national champion as of yesterday, and she is wearing her special national championship jersey. So they're just now through the second part of the Knoll Pain onto this gravel section, which has proved to be very tricky for some riders if they're running a little bit too high of tire pressure. So our leader right now, Great Britain's Gabby Duran, rides for the Neon Velo team.
And Gabby, a very strong international rider. We'll see her racing the full World Cup circuit this year, along with her husband Jeremy, and they race for the Neon Velo team.
Thanks, Leah. So yeah, Leah Kirchman is joining us here. She knows a little bit about international racing with some incredible results this year. Now our leaders are going through those kick, cancer, cyclocross barriers. Gabby Duran still in the lead. Starting to get a little bit of separation in that field. Looks like Anna Schapper may have got caught up in that crash. She is the local rider, one of the top local riders. So all of our field now through the barriers, almost all of our field. We're now just going to cut to a short highlight of some of the course features here. And we'll be right back with the Manitoba International Grand Prix. So one of the tricky sections on the course that we're not going to have on camera, that's Michael Vandenham right now. We got this forest section. They've also got a tricky run-up. You can see some riders running it, some riders will have to run it. So one of the course features we have here, we have this tricky descent down to the river. Here's Michael Dick taking this descent right now. Beautiful riding by Michael. This section will get really chewed up as the race proceeds. Of course is the Prairie Mobile run-up. We've got Natasha Elliott and Derek St. John here taking this run up. Really steep. It's a long run up, probably a good 25 seconds from the bottom to the top. Definitely an important feature of this course. So we're now back live here with the Manitoba International Grand Prix, the second day of racing at the Shimano Canadian Cyclocross Championships. We're just showing you pictures of the exit of that run-up we just showed you in that course feature section. That run-up, extremely steep, extremely challenging, and we saw that definitely played a factor in yesterday's races, a very tricky run-up. Leah, you've got an update on our placings right now?
Yeah, so I'm hearing that we have a group of 5 riders that are starting to distance themselves. This is Gabby Duran, followed by Ellen Noble, as well as Michael Dick, Catherine Pendrell, and Natasha Elliott out of CycleSmart Elite Team.
So those are your top 5 right now, and they should be heading shortly towards that run-up. We can usually see when the fans start to get excited that they're about to come out of the run-up. We're calling that coming out of the abyss. That is the Prairie Mobile run-up. And who is it going to be? Who is going to be coming out of there? And that is Gabby Duran. That is Great Britain's Gabby Duran. And Ellen Noble still in second place. Michael Dick in third. Catherine Pendrell in fourth. Natasha Elliott in fifth. Sandra Walter in sixth. Magali Rochette back in seventh place right now. So those are your top 7 riders. A little bit of separation coming out of that Prairie Mobile run-up, and they are now heading towards that harbor area. That is where the Half Pints Garden of Beer is. That's where the junction of the Red and Assiniboine Rivers is. This has been a meeting place for people for over 6,000 years, and now they're meeting to see some great cyclocross action. So Gabby Duran has about a 4-second lead over Ellen Noble, and they're now coming in to the Shimano double sandpit. The Shimano double sandpit, the first bit of sand, not too bad, but that second bit of sand, we saw a few riders go down in that sand yesterday. So she's through the first section, and she's got a pretty healthy lead over Ellen Noble, Michael Dick, Catherine Pendrell, Natasha Elliott just a little ways back. Now Gabby Duran and Ellen Noble didn't have to race that Canadian Championship yesterday, so they've got a little bit extra gas in the tank. There is Gabby Duran. The fans going wild here. The fans love this great Britain rider, Gabby Duran from the Neon Velo team. Ellen Noble, Michael Dick, Catherine Pendrell. So they're starting to get a little bit of gap. Natasha Elliott, Sandra Walter, Magali Rochette. Those are your top 7. We'll see if we can find out who that 8th rider is. That number 8 rider still hanging with those. So we'll see if we can get who is in 8th place right now. But so all of our field now going through that Shimano double sandpit, and you can see it's starting to get a little bit treacherous there, starting to get a little bit deep.
And
So
Steve, remember those two international riders, Gabby and Ellen. They didn't race the championship race yesterday, but they did race the other event that we offered, the Wannabe Canadian Championship race.
Yeah, we had a special race for our American and British friends here racing. They felt a little bit left out from the Canadian Championship Day. So we had the Wannabe Canadian Championships. Gabby Duran was the women's champion. Oh, look at this. That right now on your screen, that is Anna Shepard. That's one of the local riders, obviously suffering some sort of mechanical early on. Unfortunate turn events, but she had an outstanding race yesterday, 5th place in that women's Canadian Championship. So we're now heading towards the Odina Celebration Circle, and look at this. Gabby Duran is starting to pull away, but Catherine Pendrell is chasing her down. We'll see if we can get a time gap. That time gap looks like it is about 6 seconds right now, 5 to 6 seconds for Gabby Duran of the Neon Velo team. So she is putting the hammer down right now on the first lap here. This should be a 40-minute race. We expect it to be approximately 5 laps for this race. So they are just a little ways at the end, from the end of their first lap. And Gabby Duran pulling away, but Catherine Pendrell leading the charge. Ellen Noble glued to her wheel. Michael Dick in there as well. And now we've got, that is Natasha Elliott and Magali Rochette a few seconds back, and then we've got Sandra Walter coming through. So they've gone through that Odina Celebration Circle. They're now on that cobbled exit way, and they'll be heading shortly to the start finish. Wow, so Gabby Duran opening up a lead already, so she definitely saved some energy for today. And they're going to be coming shortly into that start-finish area. We've got this double dip section that they've got to get through before they head into that start-finish area. Very tricky section just before the last 150 meters. So they're now out of that section. So those 3 riders, they are battling for second place right now. Gabby Duran is out front, and they're now going through the start finish, completing their first lap here. 1 lap done. They should have about 4 laps to go. That is not official yet. Our officials will decide how many laps it will take to complete that 40-minute race. But right now we're estimating 5 laps, and they are done their first lap. So we'll be able, now in view, that is Gabby Duran. She is in that black outfit with the neon green armbands. That is the Neon Velo team, and that is Gabby Duran. And that time gap still sitting about 5 or 6 seconds. So we have got Britain versus Canada versus the US right now. Now she's heading into that Knoll of Pain section, and she is safely through that. We're now looking for these other riders, Pendrell, Noble, Michael Dick. So we've got 3 riders battling for second place, and they are 6 seconds down on Gabby Duran. So Gabby Duran opening a solid lead, and I don't think Catherine Pendrell is liking that. She wants to represent Canada here. She has got that Canadian jersey. She wants to try and reel back Gabby Duran. So Gabby Duran, I believe actually the top USCI ranked cyclocross rider here today. She races on the international circuit, and I believe she'll be racing in Europe in her home country coming up at the end of November.
Yes, she says one of her big targeted races this year is the World Cup in Great Britain, very close to her home, so looks forward to racing in front of her family there. And
yeah, so that I'm just going to get a time gap here. Gabby Duran, she just came by our International Broadcast Center, and that time gap is now almost 10 seconds, 9 to 10 seconds. So that is a very, very solid time gap on this first lap. She's now going through those kick cancer cyclocross barriers. Cancer Care Manitoba, a great partner for this event. They sponsored our first day of racing on the Friday. Wow, so, and you know what? Ellen Noble is sitting in third place right now. What a great ride by Ellen Noble. We've got Magali Rochette now, Natasha Elliott. Ellen Noble, a great rider, only 18 years of age. We had a short interview with her on Friday. We're now going to go to that interview. We'll be right back with the Manitoba International Grand Prix. So I'm here with Ellen Noble. It's the Friday here at the Shimano Canadian Cyclocross Championships. It's the Kick Cancer Cyclocross celebration that we're having here. Ellen, just want to welcome you to Winnipeg.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
So you're going to be racing Sunday at the International Grand Prix. What do you think of the course here? How do you like it?
I think it's really fun. I love this venue. It seems very European from what I can tell. You know, you have the cobbles and you have a really nice finishing straight. I love all the grass turns, a couple of little sections in the woods. That's really good for the mountain biker in me. But I think overall the course is really great, and I love to see it. So
what do you think of this venue as far as all the other features? We got the museum, we got the Forks Market, we got the spectators here.
I think that's a really, really great addition to a good course, because I think it's those kind of things that keep people coming back for more than just the racing. I love it, and I can't wait to try out some of the food.
Well, good luck for the race, and hope you do really well.
Thank you.
Well, we're back here at the Manitoba International Grand Prix, the second day of racing in the Shimano Canadian Cyclocross Championships. We just had that interview with Ellen Noble, and I don't think she needed luck. She is such a great rider. I think she's two-time junior United States champion, so a great rider, a great talent. She's in her first year of university, so what a challenge that's got to be, first year university and sitting third spot the last time we saw it. We're just watching now. This is the end of the run-up, so we should see them coming out shortly. But Ellen Noble, what a great ride she's having today.
yeah, she's absolutely an incredible rider. You know, started racing at only 5 years old, and so she has a lot of experience for only being 18 right now. But like you said, American Junior Women's Cross Champion. She also won the short track mountain bike in Super D this year, so very impressive rider, for American rider.
So we saw Gabby Duran exiting that run-up, and we've got Catherine Pendrell and Ellen Noble leading the chase, and it's still about a 10-12 second gap, and they're now going to be heading into that harbor area. So Magali Rochette trying to close that gap as well.
And I'm just getting an update here from Race Radio from an update on our local rider, Anna Schappert. She has a rear flat, so she needs to get herself to the pit and get a new bike.
So an unfortunate turn of events for the local rider, Anna Schappert, fifth yesterday, but now back to the Shimano double sand pit. You can hear the fans going wild. They are so loud. They are cheering on Gabby Duran. Gabby Duran, the Great Britain rider. She has about 12 seconds right now, 12 seconds on a chase group containing Catherine Pendrell and Ellen Noble. So it's Great Britain, Canada, U.S. in the Manitoba International Grand Prix. They're on their second lap. They are the second time through the Shimano double sandpit, and Gabby Duran looking really, really strong there. We got a good close-up of her face, and she looks so strong, not struggling at all in that sandpit. Let's look back. Where is Catherine Pendrell? There is Catherine Pendrell. There is the Canadian champion. She wants to win here. She wants to represent Canada. And look at this. Michael Dick is right back in this race with Ellen Noble. So we got three riders, and Magali Rochette not too far behind. This is Natasha Elliott. Natasha Elliott, I believe, fourth place, I believe, yesterday. She is now sitting in sixth spot, I should say. So those riders through that Shimano double sandpit. You can see that first section, not too bad, but that second section, really, really tough to get through. And then they've got this really long run up. You don't see it on screen, but it's quite a long run up, a lot of big steps to get through. Some more riders going through that sandpit. This, if you're just joining us, this is the Manitoba International Grand Prix. This is at the junction of the Red and Assiniboine Rivers. This has been a meeting place, as I was saying, for over 6,000 years. And right now they are watching Gabby Duran lead this race. Gabby Duran out of Great Britain. She is the wife of Jeremy Duran, who will be racing later today in that men's race. Now look at this, Catherine Pendrell now starting to separate herself from the rest of this group. These riders will be able to get a chance to look at each other through this Odina celebration circle. Let's see if we can get another time gap here for these riders. So it was running about 12 seconds before. And what is that time gap now? So that time gap, still 13 seconds. 13 seconds. So Gabby Duran holding on to that lead here. What a great venue here we've got for this race. This is the Odina Celebration Circle. So it looks like, I'm not quite sure what happened, if there was a crash or something like that. Maybe Ellen Noble or something got caught behind something. There is all of a sudden a very large gap between second and the group battling for third. I'm not sure if that was Catherine Pendrell putting the hammer down or whether there was some sort of mishap in there, but we now have a three-way battle for third place. It is basically Gabby Duran in the lead, Catherine Pendrell desperately trying to hunt her down, and then three riders battling for that third place position right now. There's about 10 to 12 seconds separating those three groups. So we're now back in that start-finish straight. So they are now through 2 laps. They should have approximately 3 laps to go. We'll see if we can get an update if that is official, but I believe it'll be 3 laps to go, and that is your leader, Gabby Duran, Neon Velo out of Great Britain. And there's Catherine Pendrell. That gap is definitely closing. That gap is definitely less than 12 seconds. So Catherine Pendrell has decided now is the time. She is not going to give any more time to Gabby Duran. Catherine Pendrell, a real Canadian, grew up on the East Coast, now lives in Kamloops, British Columbia, but for a short time she lived here in Manitoba. So she is a true Canadian. East Coast, West Coast, Central Canada. But right now, back to Gabby Duran. She is heading into that knoll of pain. Right now, the time gap is just under 9 seconds. Just under 9 seconds between Gabby Duran and Catherine Pendrell at that start-finish, and another 6 seconds back to that group of 3. So our riders now through that Tetro design knoll of pain, that off-camber section, safely through it. Just off camera, I can see our 3 riders in that third place position. They're safely through it. So we're now back to Gabby Duran here, your leader, by 9 seconds, just under 9 seconds to Catherine Pendrell. So that gap has closed ever so slightly. Catherine Pendrell is trying to close that gap, but Gabby Duran looking so strong. We got that close-up on her face. She looks really good right now. Can she do it? Can she be the winner of the inaugural Manitoba Grand Prix? She's just under halfway through this race. Catherine Pendrell, wow, she has got a look of determination in her face. She came by our Reader Insurance Broadcast Center. Magali Rochette looks very, very determined. Wow, they are very serious. They want to represent Canada. They don't want a foreign rider taking the Manitoba International Grand Prix. But Gabby Duran has a few things to say about that. She is leading this race. She is through in the distance there. That is the Kick Cancer cyclocross barriers. Then we've got Catherine Pendrell sitting about 8 seconds down now. She's got a little bit. She's closed down that gap a little bit. And look at this. There may have been a crash that we didn't see, but Magali Rochette starting to pull away from Michael Dick and Ellen Noble. They're now heading to that section that's a little bit off camera for us, so we're just going to head to a short commercial break. And we also have an interview with one of Canada's up-and-coming riders. She was second place last year in this last day in under 17. So we'll be right back with the Manitoba International Grand Prix.
It's perfect. I love it.
Okay, I'm here with Ruby Rest. She's going to be racing the under 17 category on Saturday at the National Championships here in Winnipeg. Just want to check in with Ruby. What do you think of the course? What do you think of the venue here? And what do you think of this whole event?
I think it's great. The organizers did a really good job with the course and the venue. It's just so, like, the downtown area is perfect. There's so many spectators. It's just a great vibe, and the course is awesome, super technical, and it's just, you have to be always on, so I love it.
Well, good luck tomorrow. Hope you do well, and have a great race.
Thank you very much.
So we're now back live here with the Manitoba International Grand Prix. This is the women's elite race. This is the Forks in Winnipeg, Canada. Thank you for joining us. We are broadcasting live here in the Half Pints Garden of Beer, and we are broadcasting around the world via the magic of the internet. We had quite a few countries, I think 10 different countries, tuning in yesterday to watch the Shimano Canadian Cyclocross Championships, and now we are watching the Manitoba International Grand Prix. It is the third lap of the women's race. We just got a visual here. This is the end of the run-up. That Prairie Mobile run-up, very, very steep climb. You can see the cowbells ringing, and that is your leader. That is Gabby Duran. We are now past the halfway point of this race, and your leader is Gabby Duran. Last time we checked, it was an 8-second gap back to the Canadian champion, Catherine Pendle. We're just pulling back here. What is that time gap? And so now is down to 7 seconds. 7 seconds. So Catherine Pendrell. And look at this. Magali Rochette is closing that gap. Magali Rochette is back in this race. Then we've got Michael Dick and Ellen Noble trying to get back in their desperate moments for those riders. But Magali Rochette trying to get back in this race as well. But that is Gabby Duran. And as she is heading towards that Shimano double sandpit for the third time. We have got a massive crowd in there. They're watching this on the big screen. How loud can they get here for Gabby Duran? She is trying to hold off Catherine Pendrell.
Catherine Pendrell, she's your 2014 World Mountain Bike Champion. Very strong rider from Canada. Can she close this gap? We'll have to see, but she won the championship race yesterday. She's won it before. So I think we're going to see an exciting race here.
So there's Gabby Duran. We got a close-up of her face. She is still looking really, really strong here, but she has Catherine Pendrell chasing her down, and the fans going wild here. They are so loud. They want Catherine Pendrell to reel in Gabby Duran. We are past the halfway point, and Maggie Rochette is in there as well. So we have got Great Britain versus two Canadian riders. There is Michael Dick. There is Ellen Noble, the U.S. rider. We've got three countries represented here in the Manitoba International Grand Prix. And what a race this is shaping up. Gabby Duran, the early leader. She got out front early on. She's been holding that lead. But Catherine Pendrell is now trying to chase that down. That gap closing slightly, ever so slightly. But Magali Rochette having a great comeback. She had an early crash on that Tetra Design Nola Payne. She is back in third. That is Natasha Elliott on your screen right now. She is with the CycleSmart team. That great CycleSmart team. She is with them. And look, we're just looking back to see where other riders are. That is Sandra Walter. She was third place yesterday in the championship event. She was also the Canadian Marathon Mountain Bike Champion. But we are now back with Gabby Duran. She is heading into this Odina Celebration Circle for the third time. So we are well past the halfway point. And look at this. Catherine Pendrell is really starting to close that gap. That gap is now 5 seconds. 5 seconds between those two riders. They can see each other now. They're in this Odina Celebration Circle. They'll be able to look at each other in their eyes and see how much they are suffering. But Gabby Duran looking so good. They're just a little ways away from the finish of their third lap here. So I believe they'll have 2 laps to go after this. So that's Catherine Pendrell. So Magali Rochette starting to fall back a little bit. That time gap sitting about 5 or 6 seconds, but she is definitely not out of it. This is cyclocross. We've been talking about that. Cyclocross, they're pushing not only their bodies, but their bikes to the absolute limit. If you're just joining us here at the Forks and you're wondering what the heck is going on, this is the second day of the Shimano Canadian Cyclocross Championships. This is the Manitoba International Grand Prix. And we got the women's race going on right now. Gabby Duran in the lead. Catherine Pendrell hunting her down. Magali Rochette trying to get back in there. Michael Dick and Ellen Noble in that group battling for 4th place. And now we'll be shortly cutting back to that start-finish straight. And there is your leader. That is Gabby Duran. She is in that black. Oh, and look at this. Now it is down to 4 seconds. The gap is 4 seconds with 2 gaps to go. 5 seconds. I've just got an official confirmation. 5 seconds at the start-finish. But I believe it's 2 laps to go. I believe it is 2 laps to go. We'll see if our spotter can confirm that for us. But those are your top 3 right now. That is Gabby Duran, Catherine Pendrell, and Magali Rochette. Gabby Duran with that Neon Velo team. Now, who is this in 4th place? Who is in 4th place? That is Ellen Noble. Ellen Noble now is sitting in 4th place. Where is Michael Dick? Michael Dick has fallen back a bit. But look at this. It is 2 laps to go. They are on their second last lap. We have got confirmation. That is Gabby Duran. She is hanging on here. She is led from the start. She's now through this very, very tricky corner. Safely through it, but Catherine Pendrell can see her now. She is hunting her down. That time gap now down to 4 seconds. It was 5 seconds at the start finish, and now it is 4 seconds. Wow, what a race we got going on now. Look at that. We can see them both in the camera now. Gabby Duran, the Great Britain rider. Catherine Pendrell, the Canadian champion, and they are on their second last lap. Leah, what kind of lap times are we seeing for these riders?
So the riders are just flying here. They opened up with a conservative lap, an 8:18, only to speed up for the second lap at an 8:06. And that last lap, we just saw them go through 8:13, so holding very fast speeds here today.
Yeah, great riding with these athletes, and it is now 3 seconds, 3-second gap between Gabby Duran and Catherine Pendrell, and they are on the second last lap. These riders have to be suffering horribly right now. Those 2 riders separating themselves from the rest of this field. Gabby Duran, she raced in that wannabe Canadian Championship race, but she would have been able to save a bit of energy, whereas Catherine Pendrell had to race all out yesterday. But right now, they are both going all out here, and they're now through those kick cancer cyclocross barriers, and that time gap now down to 2 seconds. 2 seconds between our lead 2 riders. Our lead 2 riders, Catherine Pendrell wearing bib. Catherine Pendrell.
She's in bib number 1.
Is in bib number 1 as the Canadian champion and the top US UCI ranked rider in this race. We're now going to take a short commercial break and highlight some of the sections of this course. We'll be right back with the Manitoba International Grand Prix. So one tricky section just before the start finish is this double dip section. So we got a couple riders going through. That's Aaron Schooler just coming through now. So they've got this double dip section just before the start finish. They also have this little chicane that they have to get through. So that's right before the finishing straight. So we're now back live here with the Manitoba International Grand Prix. This is the second day of racing of the Shimano Canadian Cyclocross Championships. We are at the Forks. We are live. We are live here on site in the big screen TV in the harbor area. We are live around the world. And right now, we have got a battle between Great Britain's Gabby Duran and Canada's Catherine Pendrell. Right now, we're hearing that they are back together. That time gap had gone out to about 12 seconds, but those 2 riders are back together. They are on the second last lap here. Catherine Pendrell, not only the world mountain bike champion, but she was also the Canadian national mountain bike champion that was held at Hardwood Hills just this summer. Hardwood Hills, also the location of the 2015 Pan Am Games mountain bike race. We've got some fans going absolutely wild here. And look at this, your new leader is Catherine Pendrell, the world champion in the mountain bike, Canadian champion in cyclocross. She is trying to open a gap. That run-up that they just came out of just is totally beating their legs, and that has allowed Catherine Pendrell to move in front and open a small gap on Gabby Duran. So desperate moments now for Gabby Duran trying to hang with Catherine Pendrell. And you can see Magali Rochette not too far behind. But this is your leader. She is going, the fans have gone absolutely berserk. Catherine Pendrell is your new leader here. She is the defending champion. She is the champion of Canadian cyclocross. And she's now opened a slight gap here. The fans are going absolutely berserk. She lived in Manitoba for a short while, and every Manitoban loves Catherine Pendrell. She is pushing through that Shimano Canadian cyclocross sandpit. And look at this, Gabby Duran has fought back. Gabby Duran has fought back to the sand. We are now back head-to-head, toe-to-toe between these two riders, Canada versus Great Britain. Gabby Duran showing her incredible skill through these sand pits. Oh, and the fans are going absolutely bonkers. And we have a true boxing match right now. Catherine Pendrell and Gabby Duran the second time through that Shimano double sandpit.
Catherine really showing her technical skill as a mountain biker riding through that sandpit. She's two-time Olympian, current world champion in the mountain bike. She's incredibly strong.
Yes, and as I mentioned earlier, she's Canadian mountain bike champion as well. That race this last summer held at Hardwood Hills, that is going to be where the 2015 mountain bike race for the Pan Am Games is going to be. Pan Am Games 2015 in Toronto. You definitely want to get tickets for that event. That is going to be a great, great race. We're just seeing Ellen Noble here through the sandpit. She is sitting in fourth spot right now. She is from the U.S. So we've got Great Britain, Canada, U.S. right now as our top four. Just mentioning Pan Am Games, we had the 1999 Pan Am Games here in Winnipeg, and that was a spectacular event, and I think Toronto will do a great job hosting those in 2015.
I know there's many athletes racing here in both in the women and men's race that are hoping to compete on the road and for the mountain bike race in those games.
Yeah, and I think, Leah, you'll be targeting those Pan Am Games as well.
Yeah, those are definitely one of my big goals for the next season.
But right now, turning our action back to the Manitoba International Grand Prix, we have got a head-to-head battle. They are now through the second last time of the Odina Celebration Circle. We have got Canada versus Great Britain. Look at that. Gabby Duran is hanging with Catherine Pendrell, and they are going to be finishing their second last lap shortly. Could this come down to a sprint? What an exciting finish we've got coming up. Gabby Duran just glued to Catherine Pendrell's wheel right now. Magali Rochette sitting about 15 seconds down on those two lead riders. She is sitting in third, and those three riders have separated themselves from this field. You can see in fourth, that's the U.S. rider, two-time U.S. junior champion, Ellen Noble, only 18 years of age, a university student, and she is sitting fourth place right now in the Manitoba International Grand Prix. And you can see in the distance Natasha Elliott and Michael Dick sitting about 10 seconds behind Ellen Noble right now. So we're now back to the start finish. This is one lap to go. One lap to go for these riders. Catherine Pendrell, Gabby Duran, head to head, toe to toe, nose to nose. They are going into the last lap right beside each other. Wow, another exciting race here at the Forks venue. Look at this site. We got lots of fans here. And that is Magali Rochette sitting in third spot. We'll see if we can get some official time gaps from our spotters here. But right now, there's no time gap between Catherine Pendrell and Gabby Duran. And they are now heading in the last time through that Tetra Design Knoll of Pain. We have got the fans lining up. How loud are those fans going to get for this battle? Catherine Pendrell, Gabby Duran, they're now, look at that, the fans are going berserk here. They're now heading into this very tricky corner. We saw so many crashes here. Nice job, nice job. Great work by Gabby Duran. Just a technically strong rider, Gabby Duran, and she is hanging with Catherine Pendrell right there. These riders are looking so awesome, and they are now on their last lap here of the Manitoba International Grand Prix. Look at this. Wow. Catherine Pendrell, Gabby Duran, Canada versus Great Britain. They're on that second part of the Tetra Design Knoll of Pain here. Now they're through this gravel section. We saw a few wipeouts there earlier today. No problem for these two incredible riders. So Gabby Duran of that Neon Velo team, her husband Jeremy Duran will be racing in about 25 minutes in that men's elite race. We'll have that live here from the Forks. Wow. We are now about 4 to 5 minutes from the conclusion of this race, and we have got two riders neck and neck. Canada versus Great Britain now into those kick cancer barriers. No problem for those riders. Catherine Pendrell in that blue, white, and red jersey. She has got a special jersey as the national champion that she won yesterday here at the Forks in Winnipeg, Canada. We are live. We are live around the world. Thank you for joining us. We had 10 countries watching us yesterday for the Canadian Championships, and now it's the International Grand Prix. And Magali Rochette sitting in third spot right now. We're going to take a short break, a short commercial break, and we'll be right back with the Manitoba International Grand Prix. We are now live back at the Forks in Winnipeg, Canada. This is the Manitoba International Grand Prix. This is the last lap of the women's elite race, and we have got a two-way battle. We're just waiting for them to come up that Prairie Mobile run-up. They're now on that river bank section, very tricky descent, very, very steep run-up. This would be an opportunity for one of these riders to attack. We're just waiting for them to come in sight. All of our fans have run towards the finish line or are staying in that Half Pints Garden of Beer. They know we are going to have an exciting ending here. And now coming out of the run-up, it is still neck and neck. It is still neck and neck. Catherine Pendrell and Gabby Duran going toe-to-toe here at the Forks. What a finish we've got going here. They are going to head towards the harbor area now and that double sand pit. Wow, what a finish we've got shaping up here. Last lap, women's elite race, Gabby Duran and Catherine Pendrell. And we're now back in the harbor area, and they are neck and neck. The fans are going berserk. How loud can those fans make it? We are on the last lap here. Canada versus Great Britain. Two great riders right now going into the Shimano double sand pit, and they are neck and neck. What a battle. We saw Gabby Duran doing so great in the sand. A critical moment. Is someone going to make an attack here? Great work by Gabby Duran to reel in Catherine Pendrell. They are going to go into that second section of the Shimano double sand pit here in the harbor area, right by the Half Pints Garden of Beer. We got the big screen there. We got the fans. They are going so loud. Let's hear some noise from these fans right now. How loud can you go? Catherine Pendrell, Gabby Duran, now through that second section. Maybe a little bit of gap there. Catherine Pendrell may have made a charge there, trying to make a surge on that second part of the Shimano double sand pit. We are about 3 minutes from the conclusion of the Women's International Grand Prix here in Winnipeg, Canada.
This is just a battle of two incredibly world-class athletes. Catherine Pendrell, a two-time mountain bike world champion, versus Gabby Duran. She's ranked top 20 in the world for cyclocross, races the entire cross World Cup scene, multiple top 10 finishes in the World Cup. You know, this is such a battle we have going on here.
So just to recap, Magali Rochette is sitting in third spot right now. Ellen Noble in fourth spot. She's just on camera now going through the sandpit. But we should shortly see our top riders come into that Odina celebration circle. And who is it going to be? Did Catherine Pendrell put on enough surge, or is Gabby Duran hanging with her? Catherine Pendrell, the Canadian champion. And we are now back with our two leaders. Catherine Pendrell putting a little bit of a surge on, but it's only about a second or two between Pendrell and Gabby Duran. And we did see a few crashes here in this section. We got a bit of a 180-degree turn. Catherine Pendrell safely through. Gabby Duran through now. We are about a minute and a half, less than a minute from the finish of this race here. This is the first race of our broadcast. We have the men's elite race coming up next. But right now, it is the women's race. Catherine Pendrell put that surge on in the second sandpit, but we do have a tricky section coming up. We've got this double dip, very tight chicane section that will be off camera, so those riders have to get through it safely. Any little bobble would be a disaster for these riders. There would be no coming back from any sort of mistake right now. Catherine Pendrell sitting 2 seconds up on Gabby Duran. Gabby Duran was your early leader. She led for a number of laps. Catherine Pendrell fought back and is now leading this race. That on your camera, that is Catherine's Luna Pro teammate. That is Magali Rochette. And we are just waiting now for our lead riders to come to the finish. Who is it going to be? This is the Odina Celebration Circle. Our top 3 riders have left it. And now coming into the finish, we're still waiting. And into the finish, that is going to be Catherine Pendrell. Catherine Pendrell with her second victory of the weekend. What a ride, just ahead of the great Gabby Duran. An amazing effort by Gabby Duran there. Your early leader just couldn't quite hang on to Catherine Pendrell. And that's not too bad. You've got a world mountain bike champion in front of you. So a great ride by Catherine Pendrell and Gabby Duran.
That was absolutely an incredible battle we just witnessed. And Catherine really showing that she is world class. She is Canada's best mountain bike athlete and also Canada's best female cross athlete.
Wow, and she defended Canada's pride. And I just see coming across the finish line in third spot, that is Magali Rochette. Magali Rochette, Luna Pro teammate of Catherine Pendrell. But there is Catherine Pendrell, your champion, number one in Canada, and right now number 1 in our hearts. Catherine Pendrell, Luna Pro team, getting some congratulations there. Wow, what a day for Catherine Pendrell. What a weekend for Catherine Pendrell. You can see she's got that special Canadian championship jersey that she gets from winning yesterday's Shimano Canadian Cyclocross Championships. The cameramen are there. They're getting some pictures of not only our Canadian champion, our Manitoba International Grand Prix champion, our Commonwealth Games champion, our Canadian National Mountain Bike champion, and our world mountain bike champion, Catherine Pendrell. What a year it's been for Catherine Pendrell. She started the year now just turning back. That is Michael Dick. Michael Dick now finishing up. She rides for the Stands No Tubes team. And this looks like Natasha. That is Natasha Elliott coming across the finish of the Cycle Smart team. But what a season for Catherine Pendrell. It did not start off very well. She had that broken collarbone early on. I think it was March. She broke her collarbone.
Yeah, she did, and that was actually the second time she'd broken it, I believe, in the same year. And but what I've seen with injuries is athletes can come back super strong after. Once you get injured, you just are way more motivated to train and realize why you love the sport. And that's exactly what we've seen with Catherine, both with all of her wins this year and her 2 wins this weekend.
Yeah, we just saw Sandra Walter come across the finish line. She was third yesterday. But yeah, Catherine Pendrell, wow. She had that broken collarbone, and she came back so motivated, as Leah was saying, and she took the Canadian Mountain Bike National Championship. She took a World Cup, and I believe Wyndham, New York. She took the World Championship in mountain biking. She took yesterday the Shimano Canadian Cyclocross Championship, and today the Manitoba International Grand Prix. What a season for Catherine Pendrell, but what a battle today between Catherine Pendrell and Gabby Duran. Gabby Duran had a 12-second lead at one point, and Catherine Pendrell just slowly clawing it back. Wow. And it looked like, to me, Catherine Pendrell may have put a surge in on that second portion of the Shimano double sandpit. Wow. So coming up next, we'll have the men's elite race here at the Manitoba International Grand Prix. But just now, we had a very, very exciting battle in that women's elite race. We have had some great, great women's racing here this weekend. Wow, definitely need to take a moment to catch our breaths. But I'm now going to move on. We're going to now talk a little bit about the men's race. We got a short commercial break, and then we're going to have some interviews with our top men's finishers yesterday. Oh, what an exciting men's race it was yesterday. Very, very, very dramatic. So we're going to take a short commercial break, and then we're going to have interviews and highlights from the podium yesterday with our top men's riders from that Shimano Canadian Cyclocross Championship. We'll be right back with the Manitoba International Grand Prix.